This podcast is part of E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience. David Housel said it best, the whole of the Auburn experience. We're about to talk about that Auburn experience. It encompasses so many different things. Yes, it's all about sports, but it's also about our culture, and more specifically, it is about our family, our Auburn family. And because it involves people, we've got to have people alongside myself, your host, Kyle Loomis. I've always got to have a co-host because Lord knows you would all get bored of talking to me, especially after 30 episodes. Austin and I have talked about it a lot, that we didn't even think we'd make it past 10, but we're already 30 into this thing and enjoying the heck out of it. But not so much Austin tonight because he's not here. But I can't just sit here being by myself. So I went out everywhere, searched high and low for the best personality I could out there. And of course, they all said no. You knew it was coming, Clint. Clint Richardson of the Auburn Uniform Database, back on E2C Network here again. And now he's going to leave me high and dry, I bet. You should.
Yeah, I was wondering where you were going with that one. I mean, if you weren't going to drop it on me, I was going to self-deprecate. So it was all going to happen the same way. So,
well, see, I thought you said you were going to do it back at me. See, that's how I always kind of think about you and I's relationship. Who can get each other first? That's really what this is all about these days.
Well, and as the host, you get first dibs. So
yeah, look at him, guys. He knows he's walking in here knowing like decorum and all these things like that. See, he's a pro. He's a veteran. He's been around here for quite some time.
Well, just remember that when you sleep on my spare bed this weekend.
Details, sir. Detail. We're going to talk about those details, not those specific details, but I almost got a spit take out of him. See, this is a great thing for the people that are listening audio wise, that you do need to watch the live recording because you get extra elements on top of that. But obviously, we're thankful that you're listening in that format too. We like to always start off our show with a little bit of, we call it Auburn potpourri, bouncing around to as many topics. Sometimes it may be one just because we get stuck on it, but in the first 10 minutes or so, just bouncing around to what we can. But we can't even start doing that without talking about why you're here. Because as I've already addressed, Clint, I searched everywhere. I couldn't find anybody else. But we're here, you're here, because of a special occasion that has happened for my regular co-host and both of ours good friend, Austin Scott, is now officially somebody's daddy 2 times.
Man. Oh, geez. That's how you're going to introduce it. We're just not going to let you introduce it.
I know. I could see you like building up, getting ready to clap, and then just, he failed. Face planted on that one.
Good time. Yeah, I think you owe Austin and especially Emily an apology on that one.
I listen. They've watched it. Austin's been here for almost every episode that we've done so far. So he knows how bad I messed this thing up. The fact that he shows up when he can is a miracle in and of itself. But, just starting off here, obviously, at the most sincerest of both of our hearts and, our audience and everything, congratulations to Austin, to Emily. We are very happy for you guys. We have been talking about this a lot. Well, not in too much detail, but at least referencing it, how the baby watch had been going on. Apparently, things started moving that direction last week when we were trying to get a podcast out during the middle of all these storms that have gone throughout the Southeast. So obviously, we are very happy. The E2C Network family, all the different contributors, were congratulating them. And yeah, I mean, can you fathom this, Clint? Austin is a father now. Does that seem real?
No.
I mean,
I was surprised when they announced it, and even more surprised when they announced that they were having twins. And,
I know.
Just super excited for them. I know that they both seem like they're going to be great parents, and I'm just excited for them.
I'm excited for them as well, mainly because now we've already started this. We've tried to almost pick what the future is for these 2 individuals, these 2 kids that are now coming to his family, obviously, but our collective Auburn family. He's going to raise them up right, being Auburn fans. So we had fun being the E2C Network contributors group, kind of picking what their future was going to be in terms of Auburn athletics. And we had things thrown out there such as football, softball, not softball, baseball, all just different sports were thrown out there. But if you had to pick, Clint, What do you think? What are these two boys, these two twin boys, going to be playing?
Oof. Austin threw out that they were going to be the future backcourt duo for Auburn basketball, and I mean, we know that Austin's a huge Braves fan, and
I was shocked.
I think Austin's going to take these kids to the diamond, and there'll be some good baseball players in the future.
See, that's what I thought he was going to go to. Like you mentioned, knowing he's such a big Braves fan, I thought he was going to say, the corner duos, one at first and one at third, or the corners of the outfield, or however you want to do that, catcher and pitcher.
We need a pitcher catcher duo. That'd be cool.
More coming up on that a little bit later in the show. But yes, I mean, we could do that. I am advocating, to be honest with you, and this is kind of what I dream for my children if I end up having two boys, or just a boy in general, is a linebacker for Auburn. I want two linebacker studs. Like, I just imagine Scott, just taking over that portion of the defense for Auburn someday and being just dominant. Just two hosses is what I'm talking about.
I like it. I don't know the Scott family lineage, but I don't know if they had those big boy genes in them right now.
Now, yes, I would agree with you. That's probably not, no offense, Austin, but the genetics right now are probably not in their favor. But have you seen, let me just it's a different sport, but have you ever seen Yao Ming's parents? No. Yao Ming's all of 7'6", and his parents were like way below average.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's always a chance, Clint. It's my favorite saying. If Chris Davis can run 109 yards for a touchdown to win the Iron Bowl, then anything is possible. So
I mean, Kyle played collegiate basketball too, so anything is possible.
Caveat: played is a subjective term. There was I on.
Oh, please! You always pushed that one.
Was I on a team? Yes. Did I have a jersey? Did I have a number? All those things. Did I play? I'm trying to be more honest these days.
All right. We're done with Austin and Emily. Congrats, guys. Now we have to roast Kyle. Okay. What did you average at AUM?
0.
Okay. 0, 0, and 0.
0, 0, and 0.
Kyle had a career average of the rare triple nothing.
Yeah. Well, but here, can I just? It's not college.
Nothing, maybe.
Okay, let me just throw this out there. In high school, and this is a different sport. In high,
he was a kicker.
I am probably the only kicker in my high school's history that is 100%.
There were 12 people that graduated with him.
Doesn't matter. 100% on field goals. 1 for 1, baby. 34 yarder, something like that.
There's a reason that if you ever look at stats, they always say with a minimum of attempts. So you wouldn't even have made it onto the list.
Okay, so if we're gonna roast me, let's talk about you, sir.
Oh no, this is all on you.
No, listen,
we should. Okay, Kyle. Now the ideas are running. We got to have a E2C network roast.
Roast session.
No, just a series of roasts. Just we get the whole squad and we just good Lord, if we could get Jessica on here to just roast you.
Oh no.
Okay, we might actually be able to. Yeah, we could sell a lot of patrons on that one.
We could. We have. Yeah. Okay. So I will throw this out there. How about this? I don't know what format we would do it in.
Let's just turn it to the E2C network brainstorming.
It did. This is
what happens when we get together.
It really is. And listen, you knew what was going to happen when you said yes to this. If we get, I think we're sitting currently at about 13 patrons. If we get to 20 patrons at any level, in the next month, we'll say 2 months, we will do a roast of Kyle Loomis, and Jessica is the officiant for that.
Gosh, yes.
That's what's going to happen.
All right.
Now, nobody create fake accounts.
I need you to make this official.
You want to do the official?
Is getting flipped. And we will promote the crap out of that. Yes.
We will do that. So 2 months, we have 20 different patrons over at, patreon.com/E2C.
20 total?
20 total.
New.
20 what? Oh, that's a good point.
No, 20 total.
20 total.
We need 7 new.
I need 7 new ones. Get them in there.
What's the lowest tier we got?
$1. That's all it
Okay.
takes to get in. $1 a
Alright.
month, and you get extra stuff on top of that. So
Man, I might sign up for this.
that's kind of what I'm hoping. I think that's what's going to happen now. Is all the contributors are going to be like, all right, $1. So I just set
Yes,
myself up
we
for
need
failure.
this. We need this.
Okay, well, that was a weird Auburn potpourri section, but again, our main point there was congratulating Austin and Emily, and we'll see Austin back in the future once he gets settled into the life of being a parent.
Hurry on back, Austin. The show needs you.
It really, really does. All right, let's talk about our first big segment of the night. One of my favorite times of the year as an Auburn fan. And for a variety of different reasons. And it's not specifically just one thing that does it for me, Clint. It is what Auburn A-Day Week, if you want, A-Day Weekend is, and it's all encompassing. All the sports, all the opportunities to get together and kind of almost have a little mini fun Auburn football weekend, but there's so much going on other than just the football spring game. That's, yes, what the majority of people are coming from. We don't shy away from that, but there's so much else to get involved with, to see, starting Thursday. I mean, it's getting Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Now, Sunday, I know everybody's got Easter plans, and you should have Easter plans, hopefully. But other than that, it is a full weekend in Auburn, Alabama. So, Clint, I know you're not the biggest, like, you don't get gung-ho about A-Day. You enjoy it, the football game and stuff like that, but you're not just like me and others that really get excited about a spring football game. But your thoughts on just A-Day weekend as a whole, whether it's about this specific one or just the concept in general?
I love the spring season. Having multiple sports on at the same time is so much fun. As students, we would often do 4, 5, 6 sports one day: tennis, equestrian, swimming and diving, baseball, softball, whatever we could. It was so much fun. To bring the crowd and the hype that comes with a football game, even if it's just a inter-squad scrimmage, just adds to that. I don't love the football game itself. Just I don't. I mean, we said this before. I don't follow recruiting. I don't judge players on how they play until it's a real game.
Right.
And I mean, you and I don't know what the team is actually trying to accomplish at an A-Day. So how do we judge how A-Day went?
Right.
It's either the defense really looked good and the offense sucked, or vice versa. And what's a good sign and what's a bad sign? So
Yeah.
I don't even try to act like I care about it.
What you're trying to say is I couldn't care less, or I could care less. No, I don't know how you would say
I
that.
will be at baseball, and I am sad that it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series because I don't like them.
Yeah,
I don't like them at home, especially.
Yeah,
Those are hard.
The problem is, and I guess it was important for the importance of this Sunday and Easter and all that is, of course it's important, but it is still. I'm happy that we're getting all of these things happening at least somewhat around the same time. You brought up football, so we'll just start right there. Obviously, if you are making solid opinions about this football team, I want to know where you're getting this information from, and basically you need to be the head coach. You're not going to get anything humongously important from this other than just seeing how they look, how they're progressing. You're going to see guys that have been working out, trying to get themselves ready for the next season. Obviously, this one has a little bit more intrigue because you've got a brand new head coach. So what's that going to be like? So for me, this is an A-Day football game that is much different because of the novelty factor of it. There's rumors, not rumors, coaches even, suggested that they might do this, a new format of doing the game where they give the defense a certain amount of points. I think he threw out like 30, 28, something like that, and said, all right, stop them from scoring. If you have more points at the end of the game, you win. I kind of like that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It makes it.
Anything is better than the old Tuberville scoring mantra with sats equaling a point and interceptions equaling 4 points, or like it was a nightmare to understand.
And then the whole Gus changed it so much, and who knows what Brian did.
I don't think he knew what he did.
We could ask that question a lot about Brian Harsin. No offense, buddy, but there were a lot of things that just did. He said something. But yeah, so there could be there's novelty there in a lot of aspects, the new staff, new players to see, and things like that. So just enjoy it for what it is. Don't walk away from this thing saying, we got the best team ever. We got the worst team ever.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it for what it is. Get used to seeing these names out here. For me, it's about the feeling, the experience with this podcast of all being in there together. And yes, you're not going to pack it out. I mean, what was it? 2011, we can hold 87,000. I think we hit about
it was 2014.
Was it 2014?
That's the final roll.
I thought the 2011 was a big one too. Am I wrong on that?
Nope. I it might have been.
One of
I don't
those.
know. I wasn't a student in 2011.
Either way, we've almost packed it out before, got close, but it's never happened. So my anticipation is you're going to see somewhere in the ballpark of 20 to 30,000, something like that. Maybe if everybody's super excited, if the weather will cooperate, 40,000, but we'll sit there and see. But as Clint has brought up, you got other things to get involved with. The other big three to, football, basketball, baseball. Baseball's happening. Now, one game's happening on Thursday. So if you can get into town, come check that out. But you've got two other opportunities to see Texas A&M, who I understand, Clint, is pretty dang good.
Yeah, Texas A&M is always good, and it's just going to be it's rough in the SEC this year, especially for this team. But they have shown that they can compete with anybody. It's finishing that tends to be the issue at this point.
Yeah, so that's just go in there understanding that they have a tall task to get past the Texas A&M team, and there's tons of great talent and highly ranked, and it's going to be tough for Auburn this year in this season. But just know that at home they obviously are really good offense, and you shouldn't count them out of any game. So come for at least one of these games. You've got three opportunities. You've got Thursday, you've got Friday, you've got Saturday, and Saturday happened right after that. But let's go ahead and talk about this other big thing. And just briefly, I guess I should mention, you've got tennis as well that's in town, some other things that are happening. But the big thing that everybody, I think, is looking to this weekend is the unveiling of a Frank Thomas statue. You and I have talked about history, statues, aesthetics, a lot together here at E2C Network. And obviously you've done a lot over at Auburn Uniform Database. Just some thoughts about finally getting a Frank Thomas statue.
It's going to be really nice to have Frank back in town.
Yes.
I'm not entirely sure how often he comes into town. I don't know what his relationship with the university is at this point. But it's going to be nice to have him here. The only SEC baseball player inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. That's a great trivia question, but celebrate it more. It needs to be a celebration. So I hope it's going to be a big one. I haven't been in town for any of the statue unveilings on campus. The original Heisman Trophy statues, the Barkley statue, or the Jordan-Hare Stadium name guys, the
coaches.
Coaches.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to that and just being there for it.
Yeah.
And I know that the baseball team has a couple of surprises up their sleeves as well, or on their sleeves. So it's going to be a busy Saturday, but thankfully, again, should the weather cooperate, because it doesn't usually cooperate on A-Day weekend.
Yeah.
In the past, when I was a student, if baseball was even at home, the baseball game and the football practice were at the same time. So, I think football is at 1 and baseball is at 3:30. So you've got time to hit both.
Yes, you do.
And, if you're coming into town for the weekend, definitely hit something other than football. Just enjoy being in town and being on campus. If you're coming just for the game on Saturday, I hope you will at least swing by. You can hang out on the parking deck. You can hang out in the outfield with students now. There's a lot of ways that you can watch this baseball team without really being in the stadium and having to buy a ticket right now. So take advantage of that.
And the other thing too is think about it this way, folks. If you've not been to Plainsman Park in or out, or around it in quite some time, come see it, because it's about to change. for the
That could
good,
change.
for good changes. But if you want that last look at what Plainsman Park is right now, come do it. Come watch some baseball. Obviously, I think you're going to be treated to a team that's going to be competitive despite the competition that is very formidable. You've got a football game on a practice game on campus. You've got other sports happening, lots of other things, a statue unveiling. There is so much to
Well,
be involved
let's
in
be
Auburn this
honest.
weekend.
A-Day is much like a homecoming game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who can't afford to come for a real regular season game, can't afford to bring their whole family, can't usually make it down for that weekend. So they bring their kids, and that's the only time they get to see Jordan Hare. And,
Yep.
and I've always said, when you get a chance to go in Jordan Hare, you take it. Because it's
Absolutely.
locked up 350 days out of the year. You take a chance. Just take it all in. Take in the Auburn experience and just enjoy being in town, being on campus, and seeing as much as you can.
It's like you're a good company man or something. You work the title of the show into what you said. I love it.
If only you would pay me for my work.
Keep dreaming.
Hey, we need those patrons so I can get paid too.
That's true.
If we hit 30 patrons,
well, I'll send you $1 then at that point.
okay, fair. $1 a month, right?
We'll talk about it. All right, let's talk about our next big topic tonight. And we've touched on it a little bit, but Clint, other than being a obviously history buff, knows everything that you would ever want to know and not to know about uniforms and aesthetics for Auburn, but he covers it and he does a good job at that. So Auburn Uniform Database is what you want to check out. We got to talk about baseball because you are a big Auburn baseball guy. I would argue, Clint, and see if that rings true with you, that this is your favorite Auburn sport out of all of them. Is that fair?
Yes.
I would think so. You know, everybody's got different ones.
And I wouldn't have said that coming in as a student. You know, it's kind of funny how it changes over the years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all this, the whole experience of it, right? You come in for a certain reason because you like maybe the coach that's here, things like that, but that can also sway you to the other program being your favorite, like Butch has done for you. You've talked, a lot about how impressed you are with how he handles him, how humble of a guy he is, how good a coach he is, what he's accomplished in such a short amount of time. So it's not a shock to me that you quote unquote switched. You like it all, but
I do.
But
I mean, of course, like I said, we hit as many sports as we could, as often as we could. And I mean, I went to Oklahoma City twice for softball for the World Series. I have unfortunately not been able to make Omaha for baseball. But yeah, I mean, football is usually everybody's first love. I was here as a student before and during the Bruce Pearl era, and got to really see the impact of what quality coaching and other things can do. And baseball is where I met a lot of good friends. As a student, kind of, one way that I kind of explained it was like, if I'm in the student section at Jordan Hare Stadium, me screaming doesn't really add a whole lot. There's 90,000 people here screaming, and like me screaming doesn't add a decibel or anything. At basketball, where I sat on the floor, I'm 10 feet away from, the next NBA #1 lottery pick and the SEC Player of the Year, and we can mess with you. Can get in your head and play with you. And at baseball, sitting in section 111, like the entire stadium can hear you heckle, and you have an impact on the game there as well. So, that was kind of how I ranked it at certain points of my time as a student. But yeah, it's just, at this point, it's like football's an all-day commitment. Basketball's pretty quick if you can get a ticket, and baseball can be quick, or it could be an all day at the park, and it's just enjoyable.
Well, it's more intimate, right? Like you said, you make more of a difference because of the smaller amount of people, but because of also the proximity that you are to what's going on in the field. And it's just one of those experiential type of sports where it's a slower paced game. There's a lot kind of going on within the game to things like that. So it's just a very unique thing. So it doesn't shock me that would change for you and that you would switch to quote unquote switch to baseball being your favorite sport. I love it a lot, and I'm growing in my love for it. Always loved it, and especially when you've got a coach and a program right now led by Butch Thompson. So let's specifically talk a little bit, since we've got you, an Auburn baseball guy here, about where this team is at as it stands right now. If I've got my numbers correct in my head, because I'll be making a video about it later, I think we're 18-9-1 on the year. Oh, look at me.
Good job.
Kudos for me tonight. I think I would always have that down because I do a show about this, but yet I fail thousands of times, but I did it tonight. So 18-9-1. They are 3 series in to the SEC schedule. Only won one of those, almost swept it. Probably should have won this most recent one against Florida, who is highly ranked. Some rankings have them high as number 2. Probably should have won this one because they didn't play like the number 2 team overall. So in your mind, Clint, if you're just kind of taking an overarching look at where this team is at this season thus far, what's some things that maybe stick out to you, or just general thoughts about the team right as it currently stands?
I think if you're not somebody who's following this team, the best way to describe this quickly is 2023 is going to be full of growing pains for this program. And it's really not by choice, just because we had a lot of seniors leave or anything. It's this team is young. This team has been really bitten by some bad injuries this year, and there's a lot of talent. It's the offense is always really good. We've been able to hit the ball around well enough. You score 10, 5, and 8 against Florida, you should be able to win a couple of those. It's surprising with the makeup of the staff and the people who have been on the staff in the past that the biggest struggle continues to be pitching. And Butch Thompson was the pitching coach at Mississippi State, touted as one of the best pitching minds in the country. Tim Hudson was on staff. Dan Schoenrock came out of retirement to come work on this staff as a pitching.
That just doesn't happen. Like, that's a big thing.
Exactly. And like Greg Olson's worked with this staff in the past. Like, there's really no excuse why the team continues to struggle pitching wise. I know I said it earlier, I don't follow recruiting at all, but I do think that recruiting is just difficult in the state of Alabama for baseball.
Yeah,
plain and simple. Just all the roadblocks that you have to overcome in this state. Without the Hope Scholarship, without the lottery money, with Auburn and Alabama aren't cheap universities to attend. It's hard, and I mean we lost a couple of pitchers in the past that I remember one in particular who was really good his freshman year. He got batted around a couple of times, but as far as a midweek starter, he was solid, and he didn't make it the next year. And I asked why. He said couldn't afford it, and it's 11.7 scholarships is the biggest joke in collegiate athletics, plain and simple. And it just makes it difficult to get really good talent. So you've got Auburn has been really good about having a really good ace. Keegan, Tanner.
I was about to say, you better go back further than that.
Yeah. I mean, great pitchers. I mean, Gonzo is an incredible pitcher, but unfortunately he's been injured all year.
Yep.
And this weekend really showed you what having him in the lineup can do.
Mm-hmm.
Friday night, who started Friday?
I know
Cannon.
this. Cannon, yeah.
Yeah, Will Cannon is going to be an incredible talent next year. Just getting all this experience this season. If Will went Saturday and Gonzo went Friday, we're not looking at what we saw today. Our bullpen is not very deep, numbers wise and skill wise at times. And it's frustrating to see
right
the offense put up 8 runs and the pitching give up 17 today.
Yeah, and I would say this, just in my amateur assessment about this team. Clint paints a picture of reality, right? And that's what you need to know if you're someone that's not following them right now, what you're getting yourself into when you start investing. And you should invest this team despite the pitching struggles, and there are pitching struggles. This team has got some pop in the bats, and it's not just one guy. We thought it was going to be one guy because the way he just came out on fire, and Ike Irish, but I submit to you, Cooper McMurray. I submit to you, Bryson Ware. I submit to you, Justin Kirby.
Caden freaking Green.
Caden Green.
Got a dinger today.
Bobby Barrels.
Bobby.
Yes. Like, I'm just saying, like, if you come to an Auburn baseball game, the chances of you seeing a ball leave the park, a double, doubles are, they come a lot, but like
we
triple,
lead the country in doubles.
Yeah, you're going to see some fireworks from this Auburn team.
Absolutely.
So you may see a pitching staff that is trying to find its way, but then you're going to find moments like this Friday where Will Cannon starts, only gives up 1 run. I think it's Bauman is how you say his last name, comes in and scoreless for 4 innings. And then it's closed out by another pitcher. And it just, even without Gonzo, even without another solid long inning guy, this is what this team could be. You beat the number 2 team. Yes, did they maybe underperform a little bit? It's still beating Florida on their turf. This team is capable of a lot more than they've shown it sometimes. And they also have shown how much more capable they are of at times too. So to me, I took Friday as a sign, as like, okay, look, yeah, have they given up some stinkers this year? What was it, like a 14 inning run or something, or a 14 run inning or something like that last series against Georgia?
Probably. Yeah.
But it's a fun group to watch. You're going to have some growing pains.
There's a lot of talent in the lineup. And I'm not saying that our pitchers aren't talented, because, I mean, they made it to this level regardless.
Right.
It's just we need a 10-15% increase in what we're getting right now to get over that hill.
Yeah. So,
we're close. This team is close, and it always feels like we're close. And again, I think that's back to the recruiting struggles. And again, not that the staff is bad at recruiting, but just the hurdles that you have to overcome in a state like Alabama.
And I will also, as we've talked about, we've mentioned that Joe Gonzo has had his injuries bug that's popped up, but you've also lost a guy like Hayden Mullins, who was coming on strong last year and is not being able to pitch this year. There's just some unfortunate things alongside some things that you've brought up that make it a struggle to be successful in Alabama, amongst when you have I know it's boring, folks, but the SEC is just dominant in everything. It is what it is. Football, basketball, it continues to get better. Baseball, have you seen the rankings, at least at the start of the season, how many teams are ranked? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to compete in this league.
So, Clint, it would not be us getting together normally if I didn't get a prediction out of you.
Jeez.
I'm not asking for something super specific, but like, just maybe if you don't want to give a full prediction or something like that, I think in my mind, this team was solidly positioned to make the postseason just based off pure preseason speculation. Even though a lot of people were not thinking that. Where do you think right now we stand? Is it maybe a little bit lower, a little more, that opportunity to make the postseason?
I still think this team it's postseason or bust. Again, not that there's any easy series in this conference, but you've got a rough Mississippi State team, a scrappy Mississippi State team coming up. Alabama is really struggling this year. Missouri's played really well, but I think they're still beatable.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be in South Carolina for this Gamecock series, so please do well, Auburn. So I think there's still a lot of opportunity to do well. I don't think the team right now is 3-6 in conference. I hope it doesn't stay at that kind of number going forward, but I don't think a losing record in this conference is really going to keep you out of the tournament. It's the struggle is if we get to May and we get to Hoover and we're a couple of games shy and we have to win a couple of games in Hoover, that's where I would get worried again, just because the depth of this pitching right now. I think I put up our lineup against anybody. I think this lineup is really strong at the plate. Our defense, minus days like today, are incredible. If you're coming into town this weekend, go watch Case and Howell, if nothing else. And
we didn't even mention Case and Howell in like just the reasons to watch the offense.
Cason is a freaking vacuum in center field. Catches anything that comes near him. Go watch him. But it's just pitching is a struggle. And I think that when you play teams, when you start the conference season on the road at Arkansas and at Florida, you got to grow up. Yep. You got to get ready. And I think that's experiences like this, getting batted around, just beat up on the road. I think that these are good experiences for pitchers, young pitchers, and have the ability to grow from it. So I look forward to seeing what this young pitching staff can do the rest of this year and into next year.
A lot of growth, but a lot of fireworks too. So jump on board, folks. Check this team out because you're missing some fun stuff, even amongst the struggles at times. So we'll continue to check in with them and talk about them some more here at the Auburn Experience podcast. On our way out of this episode, very special episode with our friend Clint Richardson of the Auburn Uniform Database. We appreciate him stepping in for Austin during his, we'll call it paternity leave. Not that he gets official paternity leave from us, but I guess he kind of gets it. But Clint, I want to give you an opportunity to plug anything that you'd like to real quick. Tell people where they can find you, anything that you want to talk about.
Always follow me on Twitter at ClintA24, me on Instagram and Facebook at Auburn Uniforms, and always check out the website, the Auburn Uniform Database at auburnuniforms.com. It's been a busy spring with a lot of new uniforms, so and I don't think we're done yet.
Yeah, it's
so stay tuned.
The amount of times I see you posting something new, I'm like, good Lord, he's not getting any sleep, is he?
No, I told you weeks ago about a couple of articles that I was planning, and they still haven't been I haven't been able to post them yet because it's been that busy. So
it's a good time for you to be living in Auburn, to be involved in these things more, but also giving us more and more content to check out. So do all those things. Follow him and his work over there at Auburn Uniform Database. You can follow me on Twitter at Kyle Loomis 24. Obviously follow E2C Network everywhere you can on social media, here at on YouTube as well, on podcasts, all of that good stuff. We appreciate you being here, however you're here live, watching this or listening to this in podcast form. And so we just look forward to another episode with another new guest next time we're together for episode 31. Until we talk to you again, War Eagle.
War Eagle.